The content in this magazine could contain references of topics and difficult subject matter that may be triggering. Please honor yourself, inner knowing, and proceed with whatever help or guidance you feel is intuitively aligned. Welcome to Sovereign Magazine Podcast. I'm Nicole George, CEO and founder of Sovereign. I'm so happy you are here. We are the magazine, podcast, and community guiding 5 million women to their sovereign selves. From heart-led conversations to magical meditations, our inspiring guests will show you how they can help you step into your sovereign self. Are you ready to listen to your inner voice and step into your power? Then keep listening to hear all of the intuitive messages meant for you today. Hello. Today I have the privilege of connecting with Yvonne Irene, one of our amazing contributors. Yvonne is an intuitive spiritual astrologer who has been captivated by astrology since childhood. With a background in psychology and a master's degree in counseling, she brings a well-rounded, insightful approach to her astrology practice, which she's been doing and honing since 2009. Yvonne helps clients decode their birth charts and also teaches budding astrologers. Welcome, Yvonne.
Hi, Nicole. I'm so excited to be here.
Oh, we're so happy you are here today. I'm delighted about what we're going to be talking about. It just lights me up so much. So today we're exploring the deep relationship with yourself, which is our theme for our May full moon issue. In your article, Decoding Your Birth Chart for Deeper Self-Connection, you talk about astrology being a fascinating tool for self-expression through your birth chart. And for those who might not know what a birth chart is or who have heard of it as a natal chart, can you please give a little bit of an explanation about what it is and maybe perhaps how people can use it to navigate things in their life?
Absolutely. So a birth chart is basically a snapshot of the sky and what is happening there in the moment that you take your first breath. So when they record that time of birth on your birth certificate and you put that information in, it's going to show a snapshot of the sky. And everyone's is so different and so unique. It's a really fun fact that it's, I believe, 1 in 3 million chance for someone to have the exact same sun, moon, and rising sign as you. And then it gets even smaller when you put down the whole chart because we're born in different locations and different areas. So our birth charts are truly, truly unique.
Wow, it's almost like a fingerprint for our soul. Would you say that?
Yeah, that's exactly how I see it. And it's so beautiful when you have the opportunity to go into a software like astro.com or astro-seek.com and put in your birth details and see what it looks like. And one thing I hear from a lot of folks is it's so overwhelming because you may not know what the glyphs mean for the signs, the planets. There's so much stuff going on. It can be quite overwhelming. So I always tell folks one of the easiest places to start to really develop a deeper understanding of yourself is to look at your big 3, which is your rising sign, your sun sign, and your moon sign. And that's a really beautiful place to start and can provide so much golden nuggets for folks. I hear people who say just learning those 3 gave them so much information and insights on themselves. And then it gets even more beautiful when you get to explore more of the chart as well, because you find out even more about other aspects.
I love this. And for anyone who's wanting a step-by-step guide to this, Yvonne Irene was actually one of our presenters at our International Women's Summit a few weeks ago. And there's a video of her walking you step-by-step through this. So if you're wanting a free video, just go to community.sovereign-magazine.com, sign up for free, and it's in our archives there. You can tag anyone on the team and we'll get you to the right place. Okay, so back to the natal chart. So By integrating these elements, you would say that people can maybe start to understand better, maybe like their strengths or challenges they might be having within themselves, and maybe use them as a way to maybe self reflect and use them as tools to help guide them or create maybe a blueprint or a roadmap towards living a more authentic life. Do you think?
I definitely agree with that because I've had so many clients who have told me that because of like societal conditioning and pressures and being told that we have to fit a specific mold, especially when we're in certain settings like work, that they don't feel like they can be their full aligned true selves. And usually it's when we're looking at the birth chart through a reading and they actually start to hear, like, oh, this is what this means for me. One of the biggest examples I always get is whenever I have people who are Scorpio Mercuries. They're the ones who love to go deep, and communication is really important for them, but they're not here for the water cooler idle chit chat. They don't want to do that. They're the ones who are like, that Zoom call could have been an email. They're the ones who want to go deep with folks and don't want to do the small chat, the idle chit chat. And they're the ones who kind of in the workplace get shamed sometimes for that because, we have to be polite and we have to engage in that idle chit chat, and for them it's just not the vibe. It's not what they want to do. So I've had a lot of those clients who tell me, like, so there's nothing wrong with me then. And I'm like, no, there's nothing wrong with you at all. You just aren't wired to communicate in that way. You're wired to go more deep and wanting to go into subjects that may be kind of weird and uncomfortable for people to go in on a first conversation because they're not prepared to go that deep yet. And it's so beautiful to hear people, own the fact that they are themselves and there's no shame around it because they have been shamed for so long or, made to feel bad about being who they are.
I love this so much. And this leads me to, we were chit-chatting just before we hit record, and I shared with you my signs. So my sun is in Capricorn, moon is in Scorpio, rising sign is in Pisces. And you said, ooh, a lot of feminine energy. And I said, oh, that's really interesting. I've been told I'm more masculine. And your response was?
So with the signs, if you have more water and earth signs in your chart, that is connected to the yin energy, which is the feminine energy. And the fire and the air signs, they're connected to the yang energy, the fire energy. So that's more of that masculine energy. And I see this so much with women who, in particular, have a lot of feminine energy in their chart. And when I share that with them, a lot of them give similar response to you, Nicole, where they say, I don't really resonate with that. That's not how I feel. And I'm one of those women as well, where I have a lot of earth and water energy in my chart. And I realize that a big part of it is because of the way we are conditioned with society. We're told that we need to go, 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 work, 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 produce, produce, produce. And we're told, you need to behave in a masculine way to succeed in this world. And, that's really beautiful in the respect that it's allowed women to have jobs, opportunities to make money, to start businesses. But at our core, when we have more of that feminine energy in our chart, that's what our chart really craves. And when we step into the energies of our chart, we're feeding it. And when we're not stepping into that energy, like let's say we're being really in our masculine, we're kind of like starving our charts and it's craving this urge to be in the feminine. And if we're not feeding it, it's going to continue to starve and we're going to continue to see problems that are aligning in our worlds. And I see this for folks where maybe they're like the boss women who are really, great with their business. They're really doing the work, but I'm seeing that a lot of them are struggling when it comes to their personal lives and their personal relationships and how they connect with other folks because they're approaching it from a more masculine way because that's what they're conditioned to be in, when really their chart is asking, let's step into that yin energy. Let's embrace that feminine.
Are you ready to be part of the movement of guiding 5 million women to their sovereign selves? Are you a woman who trusts her inner voice and is stepping into her power? Then subscribe to Sovereign Magazine, podcast, and community, where you can become part of our global community because your journey to empowerment starts here. Okay, we're going to rename our special segment. So, normally, our exclusive segment here on the Sovereign Magazine podcast is each contributor has an opportunity to show the audience what they actually do, and we call it Steps to Your Sovereign Self. So, we're going to rename it today and say Steps to Your Birth Chart and actually embodying your birth chart. So, if one is really invigorated by what we're talking about today, where would they start? Where would they go? And what would that look like?
So I actually have a freebie on my Instagram, which is at I am Yvonne Irene, and it's your astro guide to your big three. And what is included in there is step-by-step instructions to pull up your birth chart using the method that I use, which is whole signs. And in there, I'm going to break down what a sun sign is, what a moon sign is, and what a rising sign is. And I also include the glyphs so you know how to find it in your chart, because I know it can be quite overwhelming to have different little planets and not knowing what they mean. So I break that down for you. And then I also include a extra little sheet of information that has the glyphs for all of the zodiac signs, the name of the zodiac sign, and then a couple of archetypes that are connected to it. So even if you're a beginner and you don't know what the glyphs mean and what the archetypes are that are connected, you have the opportunity to really piece that information together and understand more about yourself. Because I always think that this is a beautiful place to start, because our sun is connected to our core identity, and our rising is how we filter the world, how we present, how we show up. And our moon represents our emotional inner world. So I think those are beautiful places to start and explore with astrology if it's something that is really captivating you and making you want to learn more.
I love this so much. Okay, so I do want to go just a little bit deeper for those people who might be craving a little bit more. So, you mentioned that the sun sign represents the core essence. And one of the other things that I've learned is that it also can represent your ego and your motivations. So, maybe could you talk a little bit about how you could use that as a guiding light for self discovery and maybe self acceptance in those areas?
Absolutely. One of the things that I have noticed as well with sun signs is we are growing into our sun sign. So, a lot of folks I notice when they're younger, they may not really resonate with it as much. And it's not until they're older and they're really accepting and growing into those energies that they really embrace them more. And I think about myself, I'm a Taurus sun, and I grew up hearing, oh, if you're a Taurus, you're lazy and you're stubborn. And that made me feel really bad. I didn't like being a Taurus. And it made me feel like, oh, well, I guess, at my core, I'm a lazy, unmotivated person and I'm stubborn. So I'm going to be really tough to deal with. And it wasn't until I started to learn that each zodiac sign has a higher archetype and a lower archetype. And those that I knew and had heard growing up were lower. So when I stepped into the higher octave energy of Taurus, and I realized that means that I'm going slow, I'm not overwhelming myself, I'm really building and creating the steps to get there. That really helped me tap more into my motivation, and then noticing too that that's a feminine sign. So, really tapping more into that feminine energy and incorporating that into my day to day and my structure has been super supportive for me. So, I really recommend diving into both the shadow and the higher archetypes of each zodiac sign so you can really understand which side of this polarity am I on. And if you're on the shadow, like how I used to be, look towards the higher octave energy and see what you can do to alchemize those shadows into the light.
What I'm hearing from you is astrology really can become a way to nurture yourself, a way to empower yourself to step into your sovereign self and really align with who you are, your inner values, and connect deeper with yourself. That's our theme for this month, is that deep relationship with yourself. And I always say the best relationship you need to have is with yourself, because then you can have, amazing, incredible relationships with other people. And so I just want to end this segment with, if you are really looking for ways to know yourself on a deeper level, Yvonne has so many great free resources, and we have them within the community as well. So if you want to find Yvonne Irene, you can come into Sovereign Community. You can find her on her Instagram. All the information is in the show notes. You don't have to worry. But it is definitely something you want to explore if you're trying to learn more about astrology and who you are, your shadow self and your higher self, all these types of things. I think it's such a beautiful time for us to be really exploring that deeper relationship with yourself. So thank you so much for being with us today and sharing your incredible knowledge about all of this.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It was such a pleasure getting to chat about all things astrology. That's my passion. It's my favorite thing to chat about, so I'm always excited about that.
Thanks for listening. I'll be back tomorrow with another soul-led entrepreneur here to help you step into your sovereign self. Subscribe to our magazine and podcast and join our global community for all the magic. Details to connect with today's guest or join the movement are in the show notes. And if you enjoyed this episode, please leave a review. It helps us reach our goal of guiding 5 million women to self-sovereignty.